I started doing my walks, my working out, power walking, whatever you want to call it, because just in the last month that I've been doing it, I actually feel tremendously better. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, right now I get up. Look at that. I just jumped up. No problem. No pain. Everything's good. My legs feel healthy. I can easily move around. No problem.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Toughguy, drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
Last night, it was Street Fighter 6, and just let me say, taking the 4 days away from playing Street Fighter 6. You know, I last played it Friday. To wait until yesterday was a good idea, because remember, I got so heated on Friday, so upset, trying to play this game, and let me tell you, I'm just going to say this. This gameplay I've been doing with Zangief for the last month, because it arguably has been about a month now, to try to get Zangief from the mid-diamond rank up to master. This has been the toughest thing I've done in Street Fighter 6. You know, getting Lily and Dalsim and all of them to master, that was nothing. Absolutely nothing compared to trying to do it with Zangief. Because right now, we're basically at the end of the first year of the game.
And I'm going to stop him here because I know this is going to be a fucking tangent of vainglorious self-love. So before we get to the over-the-top self-congratulatory autofellatio, let me say this. Phil got some characters to master, and that was apparently a goal of his. In the hobbyist capacity, I can say congrats, well done, and mean it. However, that's where it needs to stop, Phil. It needs to stop at, I did this thing I really wanted to do. And it only needs to expound from there if the person or people you are talking to engage you in wanting to know more. You shouldn't ramble for minutes on end about this topic when no one cares. But if I'm making a video, guess what DSP is going to do?
Everyone who's still in there playing the game knows the meta. They know, oh, this is the flowchart of my character where I can guess 50-50 of a throw or a combo or a high-low, and they know exactly what to do online to get away with stuff. Meaning they know what you can and can't react to online. They trap you with these traps, but they know if you're playing offline, you'll easily parry or get out of it, but online, forget it, right? So, to at this point be trying to get a character like Zangief, arguably bottom 2 characters in the game, right? To now be trying to get him to the master rank, it's the worst possible time. Everyone knows how to beat Zangief. In fact, arguably, again, playing against even people who aren't good, they just know, just hold up. Just keep holding up on the joystick. Whenever Zangief's near you, just keep holding up, because eventually he's going to go for a throw, because he needs to win, and when he whiffs it, you get a ginormous combo punish. And even if you jump and he's not going for that, what's he going to do? Hit you with one lariat for this much damage? Big deal. Just hold up. So everyone knows this. You know, it's very hard, very, very hard to catch people with Zangief with throw mix-ups. Instead, you have to be doing just like basic combos, which he's not good at. His combos aren't good. So it's a rough time with Zangief, okay?
So yeah, I'm already to the point of annoyance. We're getting a lore dump on a fighting game when no one has asked for it. We understand that you are excited, Phil, but the rest of us, we're actively trying to stay awake because we just don't care.
Anyway, the thing is, because Agent Coop just said there can't be many Master Zangiefs. That's wrong. Agent Coop, what you have to understand is, anyone who played the game in the first 3-4 months had a super easy time getting to Master. My first Master was Blanca. That was nowhere near as difficult as what I just did. Like, not even close. It's not because of the character, it's because no one was good yet. You know, the difference of 4 months versus a whole year, 8 months of meta, where everyone now knows how to beat certain characters easily. And that's the thing with Zangief. They know how to counter almost all his stuff so easily. So there's probably a lot of Zangief Masters. They just don't have any ranking points. They got to Master and just lost. See what I'm saying? Anyway, so how did I do it? Well, I was at 24,300 points. I needed 700 points. And I'd said to everyone, essentially, if I could get to a point, all right, where I'm not facing nonstop top tiers, if we could just get a mix of mid-tier and low-tier with the top tier, I will earn more points than I lose. It's a matter of having that level of variety. And it seems like every time I play this game online at rank now, there's a million Cammies. A million Cammies. I don't know what it is, because you start to believe it's definitely idiotic trolls who all memorize the same pattern. They know that Zangief can't beat that fucking pattern, and they're all trying to play it once on purpose to try to thwart my efforts to get Zangief to master. Because I doubt anyone else is playing this game, and every person they fight in rank is a Cammy. I just don't believe that, okay? So,
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
And I want a source because just by nature, people want to win. If there's an intrinsic edge to playing as Cammy, tons of people are going to play her. And this notion of if I can get non-top tiers should suck the jam right out of your donut, Phil, because if you're needing certain conditions to be met in order to move up the ranks, then you haven't really mastered the game, have you? Seems to me that you should have focused on how to beat Cammies or other top tiers. That might have garnered you respect, but why do that when we can simply play the victim? Duh.
It was rough, but it was variety. I fought some Minnows, I fought a Blanca, actually a Lily, if you can believe it. I fought a couple of Zangiefs themselves, and by the way, I won every mirror match, which was great to feel like I'm the superior Zangief.
You know, we're not even halfway through this video, and he's already starting to suck his own cucumber.
A lot of Ryus. I actually didn't fight a single Ken last night, just a ton of Ryus. And yes, a ridiculous amount of Cammys. Like, no exaggeration, probably 5 times more Cammys than any other character. And a JP or 2, okay? So, basically, after I would lose to a Cammy, I said, I'm not going to continue to throw away ranking points because the game is unbalanced. So, if I lost to a Cammy, I would just quit. And it worked. Instead of me losing over 100 points, I'd only lose like 60, and then I would go on to the next fight and have a fair chance again if it wasn't a Cammy. So, it was rough, don't get me wrong. Because what happened was I actually went on a streak, and then I started losing again. And then I went on another streak, and I was like, oh, if I win this next match, I might like have a chance to get Master. And it's a Master player. It's a Master Jamie. And I'm like, oh, this is great. The connection was fucking awful. I wanted to play the match because if I beat the Master player, I get more points. But the fucking match, every time he did a jump attack, I couldn't parry it once. And I'm not talking, oh, I couldn't perfect parry it. I just couldn't parry it at all. Like, it didn't work at all. And there was, again, some weird shit last night with this fucking game online. It's so stupid. Just listen to this. It was a Zangief mirror match, okay? He's standing right next to me, and accidentally he does lariat. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to block the lariat, and I'm going to do back throw to suplex him into the corner, and now I'll have advantage. So I was holding down. As the lariat's ending, I go back, and the 2 lights together to do a back throw. The game read it as 360 and jab and gave me a spinning pile driver. Down to back, 2 lights is a full circle and light punch according to this game. I mean, you can't make that up. That's not my joystick. That's the fucking game. And it's ass netcode reading inputs completely incorrectly because it's predictive netcode that guesses what you're doing.
And now we begin the victim segment. Because Phil perceives the game to be unbalanced, he's going to cheese Cammy players because, meh, it's not fair. And we'll touch more on this later too, by the way. But right after telling us that he's going to cheese Cammys and that he's a victim because Cammy equals unfair, we're treated to another victim segment of the game was laggy and our old favorite, rollback netcode. Rollback netcode is one of Phil's favorite things to talk about, and of course there's a simple solution to the problem he's talking about. He could show his inputs. He specifically tells us about a move he did and the output displayed, but if he had the inputs up, we could definitively know if it was software, hardware, or user. But of course, this would expose Phil for being imperfect, and as we are all too aware, Phil has done nothing wrong. He's done everything correct, obviously.
It literally guessed that I did a spinning pile driver. Like, what the? It's not even close to the input I did. And that's what it actually gave me. That's insane. That's wild. That's like, I want to throw a sonic boom, and instead, it gave me a half circle back and 3 buttons. Like, what the fuck? I just don't get it. How people do not call this game out for its horseshit. Anyway. The good news is, the Jamie beat me, but then I went back on a streak, and finally, at the very end of the night, after me going a half an hour extra, I was in position to hit Master if I won a set. And I had to face a Master-ranked Marisa. That was my gatekeeper, was a Master-level player. And they weren't amazing, but they also were not terrible. They actually mixed me up a bit, but it was a tricky, hard, arduous fight, but I got it done. And then I hit Master. That was the biggest sigh of relief I've ever breathed playing Street Fighter 6. I was like, oh my god, thankfully this is over. Because now I definitely don't want to play with Zangief right away. I do want to use him when the rebalance hits to see what they've changed and improved, but I need a break. Like when I play this again on Friday, there is 0 fucking chance I'm selecting Zangief. I need to step away from that character for a bit and do other stuff because, man, that was just driving me bonkers trying to fucking get wins at that level. It was, like nails on a chalkboard, torture level. Like, come on, man. Just give me, and every time you think you're going to win, combo drops. And here's just something else that I definitely noticed now that it's happening that's really sad. People, when you play them online, they're guessing that your combo is going to drop, and they're mashing moves during getting hit by a combo in the hopes that they can punish your dropped combo. That is awful gameplay. Literally awful gameplay, but they're all doing it now. So I'm picking Zangief, who has very strict timing to do a combo. And if the game fucks with my timing, which isn't me, the game, because the netcode fucks with my timing, they'll be like mashing super. So all of a sudden I'll go jab, jab, medium, go for the layer. Layer doesn't come out. Oh, super hits me. Level 3 super, I'm done. Huh?
Alright, so now we come to the game equals unfair point that I talked about in the segment prior. Phil is talking about his journey with Zangief. It almost seems like this was a form of religious pilgrimage for him, and to me, that's a problem. These rankings are not a measure of anything at the level Phil is playing at. It's a score. And what does this score measure? It measures his proficiency in a game. Now, no shade or salt is being sent to anyone who enjoys the challenge of trying to be the best for the fun of it in Street Fighter 6, or even for future competitions, but that's not what we have here. What we have here is a 42-year-old man playing a game and sinking his entire personality into it. He's making the whole of his career, and likely some of his life, about getting a fighting game character into a master rank. I believe this is why Turkey Tom went with the title A Decade of Failure. I also mentioned this on my stream yesterday. Phil has nothing. He had his 4th place at EVO, but he knows he's not respected for that. He has a house he wants to refi ASAP, which will leave him homeless sooner than later. He has a wife who is lethargic and doesn't want to seem to be near him, a cat who likely hates him, and the derision of thousands on the web. What is Phil's actual legacy? What is his endgame? What is the first step towards making it for Phil? Because going 16 years in life and not helping your fellow man, not developing yourself into a better person, or failing to contribute to society makes the title A Decade of Failure seem rather tame in my eyes.
Like, that should never happen. No one should be mashing in the middle of a combo. That's some of the scrubbiest gameplay you could ever see. Because what if, for example, I purposefully drop the combo and I just block? Well, guess what? Now they blow their super and now I get a giant combo after. So no one would ever do that in a real tournament. But online, it is prominent. Like, these people are doing it constantly. Because I've seen it right in the middle of me. Oh, just level 3 super hits me. What the fuck? Why would you have been mashing that? With Ken, he always mashes the OD Dragon Punch. Like, literally every time. Like, that is so stupid and silly. So, anyway, thankfully, I got it done. I'm so relieved that we hit master. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely official. Every single character that I tried to play seriously in Street Fighter 6, I hit master. Every single one. Oh, and by the way, just for the record as well, because some people might say, well, what are the statistics with Zangief now that you hit master? Overall, here we go. I have the stats for you. Zangief is actually my second most played character, if you can believe it. I actually played him over 1,000 matches.
But the detractors learned that what he's about to spout off at you needs a big ol' asterisk next to it, because what he's giving us are all the matches, including casual matches. But on King Jad's Bingo, big ups obviously, YouTube user Profit provided these stats. And we could talk about his win-loss ratio, and I'm sure many have, but we're not going to focus on that today. Today we're going to focus on Phil's claim he doesn't have time to do things because he's too busy. If we look at the top stat, we see a total of 2,716 battles. So, what does a Street Fighter 6 battle take in terms of time? The maximum is 60 seconds in a best of 3 format. Well, let's half that to 30 seconds. You know that 2 rounds must be played at minimum, so we're already at 2,716 minutes. We'll ignore matches that go to 3 since that variable isn't easy to predict. So, DSP has played Street Fighter 6 as a variety streamer for 45.26 hours. By comparison, my local Division I college grants 3 credit hours for 2,550 minutes of study. DSP has completed the equivalent of a college lecture of Street Fighter 6. And that's just time in combat. That's not bitching after the fact, or matchmaking time, or his pre-cum piss cast, big ups Atlas. That's just gameplay. And I know he would say, well, you work 40 hours a week. This is just work. But I don't see it that as accurate. In my line of work, most of what I do has an element of learning or experience to it. The more I do my job, the better I get at it. The more attractive to other places of employment I become. The better chance I have for promotion or a better position elsewhere. DSP gets to, for some reason I will never comprehend, puff up his man titties in quote-unquote pride that he got all his characters to master, which makes him more attractive to, I don't know, Capcom, because they know he'll buy the game and the skins. But don't take this bit as me saying if you clock ungodly hours into a game, you're wasting your time. I'm not. I'm saying DSP is wasting his time, and is in fact full clown shoes. But anyway, Mr. Clown, I interrupted you gloating about how good you are in a game. Please continue to embarrass yourself with lies.
In fact, I figure now we should give some stats, right? Blanca absolutely is my most played character with 1,860 matches in ranked. And out of all the matches, with Blanca, I won 1,143 and lost 717 for a 61% win-loss ratio. With Zangief, I played 1,004 matches. And overall, I won 542 and lost 462, 54% win-loss ratio. In fact, I'm happy to report that with every character who I hit master with, I have a winning record. Blanca, Zangief, Lily, Dalsim, and Honda all have winning records. Blanca's 61%, Zangief's 54%, Lily is actually 56%, Dalsim is 64%, and if you want to know the truth, my best win-loss ratio in the entire game is Honda with 63%. 63%, I won way more with Honda than I lost. Pretty crazy to think, but yeah. So, anyway, those are all good stats. Unlike the people who literally played and scraped their way to master, and lost more than they won, but they're still master. I actually have a winning record with every single character that I ever played who hit master. So that's, and listen, to other people, they might be like, oh, that's not an accomplishment. To me, it's an accomplishment. Listen, when I went into Street Fighter 6, I had no idea that I was going to get back into a competitive mindset of fighting games. I had not played fighting games competitively at that level since Street Fighter 4, and really since only like the second season of Street Fighter 4. You know, I haven't played Super Turbo in a tournament in ages. I skipped Street Fighter 5. So for me to get back into this mindset and this way of playing that much and learning that much and trying to get to that level was a humongous challenge and accomplishment for me. I'm proud of myself. I hope that you have enjoyed this year, literally a year of content that I put out of Street Fighter 6. I mean, I played the hell out of the game. I learned a lot, and I feel like now, heading into a new balanced, you know, level where they're going to rebalance all the characters and everything, I'm kind of ready for it. Thankfully, I didn't take an extended break and then try to come back and be so behind. I'm glad that in the last month and a half, 2 months, I refocused, got back on that horse, as they say, started playing again. Okay?
And this just continues the pathetic parade for me. The actual definition of pride is a, quote, feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired, end quote. And I'm sure DSP thinks his pride comes from the first part of the definition, but I disagree. I think it comes from the last part, where it said pride is derived from, quote, qualities or possessions that are widely admired, end quote. I think DSP thinks that by doing this, he thinks people are envious of his quote-unquote skills, and that he should be celebrated and have accolades thrown onto him, which is why I say this is part of the pathetic parade. Beating addiction, raising a family, an actual family, not a roommate and a pet that hates you, donating your time or even money to the community, or even something as simple as beating one layer of depression by cleaning up a room. These are all examples of things one can take pride in, because there is an intrinsic value in it. I myself picked my current profession because I know what my company makes or does helps people. It's not just for the money or the claim of, I have this position, envy me peasants, but truly, I think DSP is sitting in his little chair thinking to himself, I sure showed them, which is simultaneously hilarious and sad at the same time.
In fact, to be honest, I'm just relieved, like the next couple sessions, Friday, and probably I'll do like maybe one more session before the patch. I just get to mess around. It won't be serious gameplay. You know, it'll just be like, oh, I'll pick some Blanca and dick around. I'll pick some, probably Dalsim. I actually want to play with Dalsim some more and just kind of dick around a little more. It's not ultra serious gameplay anymore. Because what's the point? There's no point in even being ultra serious. It's all going to change next Wednesday anyway when they rebalance the game and everything plays differently, right?
So it's not ultra serious now, but it was ultra serious before. Why? What were the stakes? What was at risk? What were you trying to prove? And to who? If DSP was trying to prove to detractors that he's good at Street Fighter 6, I have some bad news for you, Phil. We don't care. I still see you as a whiny man-child. Good or bad at Street Fighter, it makes no difference to me. I don't think it makes a difference to most of your detractors. I know there are some that play Street Fighter 6 competitively as either a side gig or just because that's their thing. But guess what? You're not changing their mind either. They still hate you. So again, I have to ask, if the next series of gameplay isn't serious, why was the Zangief play serious? Phil continues to talk about Street Fighter 6 and the upcoming patch. I almost fell asleep watching it, so I'm cutting it out, and instead we're bringing in a Doody stream clip. Big ups.
Bigger and everything, and now everything's just like tiny and stuff, you know? I received my first tip of the day, a $2 tip. Just listen to this. I love when I get tips like this. You ready? Dude, can you for once play a high-tier character in Street Fighter 6? Try to get them to master for a change. I'm sick of watching you only use low tiers. If you want viewers to stick around and support you, you better listen to our advice for a change. So let me get this straight. You better do what we tell you, right? Or else you're just gonna fail. You better do what we demand from you.
Remember, this man has a business degree. While the quote, "the customer is always right," has long been proven to be incorrect, the quote in its entirety is quite accurate, which is, "the customer is always right in matters of taste," which is what we have here. What the tipping dent is saying is, I'm sick of hearing you bitch that the only reason you're getting beat is because of top tier. So, play as a top tier and prove your case, otherwise I will go elsewhere. Which is a valid critique to me. If you're going to constantly say that the reason you can't make three-pointers is because of the wind, you better expect someone to challenge you to try it in a gymnasium, because otherwise it's just talk. Your word that you can do the thing. And DSP has shown time and again that he's just fine with lying, so everything the man says has to be fact-checked.
Huh? What is this, fucking extortion racket or something? You're gonna extort me? I refuse. Listen, if you don't like what I do, you don't have to be here. You don't. You don't have to be here if you don't like the content. If you don't like me playing with the characters I'm using or whatever, you know? I don't like the high tiers in Street Fighter 6. I've already explained to you why. Because there's only two variations of high tier. Pure fucking rushdown which is ridiculous. I don't like it. It's too overpowered. Or 100% silly keep away with JP and Guile, which is just easy mode shit that doesn't take much skill.
And I hate when he does this. It's truly one of my biggest pet peeves of the guy, when he hears feedback that he doesn't want to hear and says, fine, then you can go away, but inevitably later ends up complaining about low support numbers. It's so obvious that even Phil has to know that he's doing it, but he also knows that if he picked up a top tier and started to get bodied, he'd have one less excuse in his arsenal of why he's getting beat. And even though I don't care if he wins or loses, I'm just there for the rage, he cares. And his baby ego can't stomach the thought of people thinking even less of him. Also, Phil, you set this trap for yourself. When you say that the game is rigged, the game is unfair, you invite the mob to tell you, prove it. You not liking how a character plays isn't a valid reason to not prove your theory. It's avoidance, perhaps better known as cowardice.
So it's either do a mindless fucking flowchart pattern, which doesn't take much skill, or just do mindless keep away. There's nothing to it. It's not, that stuff isn't fun to me. It never has been. I'm gonna play characters that I enjoy. I like their archetypes. I like how they play, right? I'm not going to force myself to play with characters I don't like. So if you don't like that, there's 7,000 other people playing Street Fighter 6 on streams that you can check them out doing their flowcharts and their keep-aways. You could do it. You could go watch them. And you can applaud how great they are doing the same flowchart as everybody else, you know? Go ahead.
All right, one more analogy to show how absolutely batshit crazy this logic is. No, not a sandwich shop. We're going to the Iron Sanctuary. So I go to a gym, I lay down on a bench, I push 300 pounds. Another guy lays down and pushes 350. I notice that the guy is wearing a Nike shirt, and I say, Nike clothes add like 75 pounds to a bench. It's not legit. He didn't earn that bench press. Well, eventually, some more people would bench, and some guy wearing a Nike shirt, well, he pushes 275. That's when I begin blasting him with my superiority, because not only am I lifting more than him, making me better than him, he was wearing a Nike shirt that helps him out with bench. Well, according to me, that is. This continues long enough that finally someone goes out, buys a Nike shirt, and hands it to me saying, you said it helped with 75 pounds? Go push 375. And my answer being, huh? Why would I wear Nike? I don't like Nike. You can go find someone to lift wearing Nike. I don't want to wear Nike. How fast do you think the entirety of the gym would beat the crap out of me?
I think it's so silly. You better do what we say and use other characters that we demand, because if you don't, watch the support go away. Like, what? You're absolutely out of your mind, man. You're out of your mind. It's like threats. Yes, as we all know, I always respond well to threats. In my 16 years on the internet, every single time that I was threatened like that, I listened. I totally just bent right over and did what I was told, right? Like a good boy. A nice pat on my head, right? Like...
Well, actually, Phil, the only documented time I know of you being threatened, well, in a physical capacity anyway, you ran into a bathroom and started crying. So, yeah, you're a bitch.
Do you not know me? You know, do you not understand that I'm the opposite of that? That when someone says something like that to me, that means I'm just not going to do it. In fact, I'm going to do the opposite. That's exactly how I am. That's always been my mentality. Like, yes, threaten me, right? Ridiculous. You know, I just don't. I do not respond well to threats. I don't. I'm the kind of the opposite person. I actually will get heated and fuck you if you threaten me about anything. It's one thing if you try to make me see reason. That's completely different. Hey, justify what you're saying. Give me a reason. Explain to me why this is beneficial for me and for you. And if I have a counter to that, please listen to my counter in a rational way and try to weigh and balance that too. Maybe we can come to an agreement. Not, you better do it, man, because I'm telling you to do it, motherfucker. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, geez, shut the fuck up. These fucking nobodies yelling and screaming and stomping their fucking feet, you know?
When a man who has likely 30% or greater body fat, wrists the same size as his biceps, man tits, and whose peak exhibition of physical fitness was to pop up from a chair, when that man says, I do not respond well to threats, it makes me smile and cringe in equal parts. When that man then layers on the statement, these fucking nobodies yelling and screaming and stomping their fucking feet, well, that's when you know you've got DSP talking. Because only DSP, being as physically weak as he is, as morbidly obese as he is, and so sensitive that a meme could cause him to scream, test me, bitch, at a screen, could have the audacity to mock other people for getting upset.
How many times has this happened over the years, and I say, go fuck yourself, and then I'm still here, right? Right? How many times, oh, you better do it, all your support's gonna go away, and I'm still here. Right? I'm still here. Not going anywhere. Still myself. So what the fuck are you talking about, man? Ridiculous. What an attitude to have. And the thing is, with the rebalance, maybe I would want to try new characters, right? I don't know. I'll tell you this. I'm definitely using Akuma, all right? And then I'm going to probably play with all the characters I've already used to try to see if how the rebalance has affected them, correct? And then after that, I'm probably, maybe I will try some other characters who I haven't used, right? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll experiment, and we'll try to figure it out, okay? But to outright threats like that is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. You're just going to turn me off from listening, right? You wish to see the 20th year of DSP? I don't foresee anything happening in the next 4 years. I'm pretty sure you're going to see the 20th year of DSP, 20-year celebration.
This would make Phil 46 when he hits 20 years. And I was curious who in the mainstream would be Phil's equal in terms of age, so I did some research, and here are some people who are currently 42 and will be 46 when Phil is. Britney Spears, Chris Evans, Kelly Clarkson, Keemstar, Seth Rogen, Jesus, imagine Seth Rogen being a more decent person than you, Amy Schumer, see my previous comment, and yes, I know those are all celebrities, so here are some corporate bigwigs. Brian Chesky, he's 42 and is the CEO of Airbnb, and Zuckerberg is 40. Yeah, and I know, that's the elite of the elite, so let's pose this question or observation another way. I looked it up, and at 42 years old, the average salary is $60,000 a year in the United States. DSP is well above that, so hey, success for him. So maybe we can measure his overall success in a different way by asking, what is the average 401k balance for 42? Spoiler, it's $142,069. DSP's 401k balance is Hogan. I better hear Velcro, like, now.
Alexander says you always say you can't win with the characters I pick. Yeah, but except I do. I hit master with all of them, right? Did I not? And I have a winning record with all of them. I literally have a winning record master character with every single fighter I selected and played seriously. So even though I complain because it's hard and it's frustrating and it's stressful, I still do it. So what's the fucking problem here, right? I'm sorry. Did you want me to just pick a top tier and steamroll? Is that what it is? You just want to see Phil steamroll? What's the fun in that? Isn't life about adversity and overcoming adversity? Isn't that my story? In the 16 years I've been here, is overcoming adversity and still being here? Why would it have been fun if day one on YouTube I became virally popular, I was a millionaire, and every day I get 1 million viewers on everything? Where's the story there? That's boring. That's fucking stupid. That's brain dead mouth drooler shit. You want the story of someone who perseveres, right? That's what this is about. That's the interesting stuff, right?
It just so happened today that I was watching WPIG Save the House saga, and I popped in at a perfect time for just this bit. There is a part where DSP is complaining about his finances and starts pining for an oil tycoon to fund his whole life, or to have wealthy relatives finance his life, or to hit the goddamned lottery. And this pathological liar expects anyone to believe that he's dead-ass broke on the daily by choice, that he enjoys working so hard and getting up at 9 or 10 o'clock to stream, play video games, and loves the fact that he can never take a vacation or extended trip because it shows he's persevering. We're hitting toxic cope levels here, folks.
There's shortcuts in life, and there's the hard way. I always do the hard way. Don't ask me why. That's just how I am. I always do the hard way. But isn't the hard way the better story? Wouldn't you rather hear the story of the person who did it the difficult way than the guy who just coasted through life, right? The guy who failed up versus the guy who fucking clawed for everything he ever got? What's the difference? It's more entertaining. How do you not understand that?
First of all, you do things the hard way out of sheer stupidity, not even ignorance. Ignorance is, you didn't know, but you've learned your lesson and you'll remember it for later. DSP, on the other hand, has people screaming at him, don't do it this way, it's much harder. But because DSP probably saw that as a threat, he said, fuck you, and did everything the hard way out of some dumbass reason he attributes to spite. And when he asks, isn't the hard way the better story? Yes, it is. But that's only when the deck is stacked against the protagonist. You want the good guy to overcome. Phil, you are not the good guy. You want them to be able to deliver comeuppance against those who tried to block the good guy's path. Phil, you're the bad guy. Phil is the guy who's been given every advantage, every opportunity, and in his words, he coasted through life and failed up, and he didn't claw for everything he got, he begged. And now he expects sympathy from everyone because the dildo of consequences has arrived. It's spiky, girthy, and no lube is in sight. Moreover, he's shocked when all the people he wronged have shown up with popcorn to watch karma fuck him like he so rightfully deserves. You cannot make this shit up. But that'll wrap this one up. Big ups to Snort, Hogan, and Doody streams for the clips. I appreciate it. Thank you if you watched, liked, or shared. Everything helps. And of course, my members, the newbies, neophytes, and gym rats get the most heartfelt thanks I can give. You are all the best. Till next time, swole is the goal for a troll. Lift heavy, eat clean.